Welcome, everybody, to Intensity Broadcasting. My name is Josh Hall. This is the Blue Ridge Auto Group Truck Series, part of the SCSRA here on Intensity Broadcasting on iRacing. Getting ready for some super speedway action. The round of 8 begins. We got 8 drivers getting ready to try to lock themselves in to the next round. Let's take a look at those drivers. And you see at the top of the leaderboard, Nicholas Fuller and Daniel Wiles both tied with 2012 points. The points have reset since last week. Devin Butchino back in third, 2011 points. Then Tyler Aspinall, 2006. Eddie Morris, 2004. Bray Zimmerman, 2003. And then Joe Wright and Ryan Gomes tied back in 7th and 8th with 2,000 points apiece. But you know the deal, win and you move on to the next round. And that's exactly what these drivers are looking to do here tonight at Talladega. Could we have another Cinderella story like we saw last season with Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence? Could we have a repeat winner? Could Tyler Aspinall go 3 in a row to win his 3rd race and lock himself in to the championship race at Phoenix? Got about 50 seconds left here in practice. We see Joe Wright making his way around the racetrack, doing a little mock qualifying run. A couple drivers out there getting some drafting underway, trying to see what their cars are going to do by themselves and in a pack. And that's going to be the big thing. We've seen a lot of drivers tonight run 2, 3, 4 car packs. We haven't seen anybody run in a big pack tonight. And with the oval refresh, and as boxy as these trucks are, the wake that they throw off of them is huge. So we could see quite a bit of movement out of these trucks. These trucks do not handle as well in the pack, especially in the back of the pack, as they do in a 2 or 3 car pack or by themselves. So that's going to make things really interesting here tonight as practice has come to the end and we get ready for qualifying to get underway. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick. Do appreciate you joining us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. As we have our first drivers getting ready to make their way out onto the racetrack. Looks like our first driver is the 43 of David Hartney. And Talladega is a unique speedway in itself. 2.66 miles, high banks, but the more important part of the racetrack is where that start-finish line is. Let's take a look at the race info. And you see that red stripe there. That is the start-finish line. Normally the start-finish line is right in the center of the tri-oval. You see that in places like Kansas and Daytona, Kentucky, Chicagoland, Las Vegas. Here, though, that start-finish line is located just past the tri-oval, about 400 feet, and it makes for an exciting race back to the line each and every time. So watch for that here tonight. It's going to change not just the way the stage is going to finish, but the way that the race is going to finish as well. It always comes into play. Hartney makes his way around, using that high lane to get that truck wound up the best he can. Immediately down onto that yellow line, trying to take the shortest way around the racetrack. That's what we'll see. The drivers running their first lap right up against the wall, trying to get the truck wound up. These trucks do run a restrictor plate. That is a plate that runs over on these, they're not carbureted anymore. They have a throttle body. So the plate runs over the top of the throttle body. It lowers the horsepower by restricting the amount of air that can get into the engine and slows the trucks down. If they didn't have that, you'd see these trucks running 210, 220 miles an hour. And as we know, any race vehicle traveling at that speed can get airborne very easily, even with roof flaps and all the technologies they have to keep these things on the ground. Even at these speeds, we've seen these trucks get up in the air in real life. So they try to do what they can to slow them down, and that's what puts these trucks in a large pack when they're out on the racetrack. They just can't get away from each other. So see David Hartney up at the top of the leaderboard. Daniel Wiles Currently slots into the second position. Now he's going to run that low lane for his second timed lap. Tyler Aspinall up to the second position in that Ricky Bobby I Want to Go Fast car. Excuse me, truck. As Ryan Gomes goes up to the top of the leaderboard. Now, due to the on-track incidents that we had last week, unfortunately, we did lose a couple drivers, and that's why Ryan Gomes, who was on the outside looking in, has got himself into the round of 8 and looking for his first win here in the SCSRA to lock himself into the Championship 4. Here's Devin Butchino, driver who has wholeheartedly said how much he does not like running super speedways. He hates this style of racing, but we'll see what he can do here as he's coming off of turn number 4, down the little short chute towards the tri-oval. And while you cannot run underneath the yellow line in the race for qualifying, it's fair game. And see where Butchino slides in here, and he is going to stay currently in that third position. As Ryan Gomes continues his qualifying attempt. A lot of these drivers know their first lap is usually the quicker lap here in these trucks. Here's Joe Wright making his way out onto the racetrack. And Dave Wright on the racetrack as well. Michael Provolt just finished his qualifying attempt. He's going to slot into the 9th position. Brandon Zimmerman coming across the stripe. He's going to be currently in the 5th spot. And Dave Wright and Joe Wright look like they're currently going for the slowest laps of the race here, of the qualifying here. Michael Cheeseburger Lawrence says, "Love me some Dega." And as we mentioned, having a Cinderella story a couple years ago, locking himself into the Championship 4, or with a win here at Talladega, again, his only SCSRA win. We see Mike Moultrie up at the top of the racetrack on his first lap. And Eddie Morris, the Fried Piper, as they like to call him, one of our super speedway experts here. Always one to watch here on the super speedways. Had some technical problems last time we ran a super speedway at Atlanta. Hopefully to turn his luck around here. He was able to get into the playoffs. And he's looking to have a good run here tonight to lock himself into the round of 4. As we have just under 4 minutes left here in qualifying. Sylvain Seguin just making his way off of pit road as well. One driver left to get off of pit road. That is the 11 of Brett Merle. As Joseph Wright is coming down the backstretch and into turn number 3 on his second lap. See where he's able to slide in here on his flying lap. Cheesy's pick tonight here is Eddie. Although his second pick tonight is Ryan Gomes. And again, Ryan trying to be the dark horse here tonight and locking himself into the championship race with a win here tonight. Is Joe Wright's going to stay back in the 14th position. Brian Merle Jr. just jumped up into the 12th spot. Again, we're seeing the second lap being the slower lap, the first lap actually being the fastest. And currently Nick Fuller and Ryan Gomes both tied up at the top of the leaderboard with a 56.07. Actually, our top 4 all running a 56.07. As Eddie Morris comes down across the stripe. And the trend continues as the second lap is the slower lap. And now Brett Merle out on the racetrack as Sylvain Seguin crosses the start-finish line on his first lap. He's down towards the yellow line for his second lap. And Brett Merle right up against that outside wall, trying to do everything he can to get that truck wound up here and down through the tri-oval. Gomes responds to Cheeseburger in the chat there. Basically saying a good old thank you to him for calling him out there for his pick. As you see Sylvain come off of turn number 4, down the short chute towards the tri-oval. We have just a minute left here in qualifying. And Sylvain's going to slide up into the 15th position as here comes Brett Merle. Coming down through the tri-oval. Again, we've seen this going to be the faster lap usually. Comes down across the stripe. And Brett's going to slide up into the 7th position. Unfortunately, he's not going to have enough time to finish his qualifying attempt. So while he's out there making his last bit of runs, we want to thank again everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, Twitch, or over on Kick. We do appreciate you joining us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. We also want to thank our great partners, including Race EPI. For all your iRacing coaching and setup needs, visit raceepi.com. IntensityBroadcasting.com. Pick up some of our swag, SCSRA swag, or even Atlee Atman-Weese's swag over there. Check all that out in the link down below. And of course, our great partner over at ButtKicker. ButtKicker is a well-known and established leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of ButtKicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. Check out which product is best for you. Check out thebuttkicker.com. And not just do they have great haptics for your gaming rig and gaming in general, you can also see where movie theaters in your area use the butt kicker as well, so you can get that kind of 4D effect in your movie goings. Also, tonight's series is sponsored by Blue Ridge Auto Group. If you're in Tennessee area looking for a brand new or used Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, or Ram, check out Blue Ridge Auto Group at the link down below in the description. Now let's get ready to take a look at our starting grid, and you can see just how close the top 5 is. Nick Fuller with a 56.070, Ryan Gomes with a 56.071, Dave Wright with a 56.075, and then Devin Butchno with a 56.076. So really, really tight there up at your top 4. Then Dave Hartney and Brandon Zimmerman round out row number 3. Brett Merle rolls off from the 7th spot with Joseph Wright back in 8th. Riley Gomes and Tyler Aspinall round out your top 10. Daniel Wiles rolls off from the 11th spot in the 17 machine with Eddie Morris back in 12th. 13th we'll find nobody because my timing looks like it just froze up. There we go. 13th is going to be Mike Moultrie with Brian Merle Jr. back in 14th. Michael Provolt and Sylvain Seguin round out the rest of the field here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway as trucks are on the racetrack, circulating the racetrack, getting ready to go green flag racing here at Talladega Superspeedway. 67 laps tonight. Your stage break will be on lap 25, and from what I've heard, these drivers will not be able to make it to the stage on fuel, so they will have to come down pit road and take fuel to make it to the end of the stage. So 70 miles an hour is the pace speed. Pit road speed is 55 miles an hour, which is much slower than Daytona, but that's because of the how far away the pit road is from the racetrack. So normally Daytona, we run pit road speed 60 miles an hour. These guys have to run all the way down at 55 miles an hour, all the way down this long pit road, which is also very tricky to get on, because when you come off of turn number 4, let's see how much room there is to get down towards pit road here. So watch that under green as we get ready. And the pace truck takes the hard left-hand turn down onto pit road, and it's a long ways down through the tri-oval to the Geico starting zone for Nick Fuller down on the inside. Ryan Gomes on the outside. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing. And Nick Fuller already getting a great shove from behind from the 84 of David Wright, who's also trying to get a win here tonight. Not in the playoffs, so trying to play dark horse and spoil here tonight, as he is all over the back bumper of Nick Fuller through turns 1 and 2. Devin Buchno off the back bumper of Ryan Gomes, not able to give him the shove. So all the energy right now is down on the low side, as here we see Dave Wright jump up to the high side in front of Gomes. And Dave Wright wants to lead the first lap here at Talladega, up on the high side with a big shove from the 55 of Ryan Gomes down into turn number 3. And now Dave Wright's going to take the lead away from Nick Fuller as they go down into turn number 3 for the first time. Here comes Gomes back on the high side. Now he's getting a little bit of help there from Devin Buchno as they come through the short chute down towards the tri-oval. And Gomes with a head of speed up on the high side. Dave Wright goes up a little bit, tries to use a little bit of side draft. But here comes Gomes, and Ryan Gomes is going to lead the first lap here at Talladega Superspeedway in the round of 8. Now Devin Buchno going to use that high lane to his advantage. He's got a shove from the 65 of Brandon Zimmerman. And it's a revolving door up at the front of the race here, as now Devin Buchno up into the lead. Side by side, door to door, as Devin Buchno takes the lead away. And here comes Joseph Wright with some help from Tyler Aspinall, looking to get into the action up here as well. Devin Buchno coming down across the stripe, and he is going to lead lap number 2. As now Joseph Wright trying to get something happening up at the front here. With a big shove from Tyler Aspinall, he's got his teammate Nick Fuller back behind as well. Joseph Wright takes the lead by a nose going down into turn number 3. Now Devin Buchno retakes the lead away from Joe. And Joe takes the lead right back again. With the big shove from Tyler Aspinall. Now that was Joe dive down in front of his teammate here down into turn number 1. Is he going to stay up there with Aspinall and Fuller? Right now, a lot of organization up on that high side. Here comes Brian Merle Jr. and Sylvain up on the high side. And that's where the energy is going to come from. The more drivers that we can get lined up and tightly lined up, that's where the energy, that's where the momentum is going to come from. And right now you see Joe Wright with a much better formed up third lane than down on the bottom with Devin Buchno. And that's why that high side is starting to move right now. We see Tyler Aspinall right there on the back bumper, giving the shove as Devin Buchno is trying to fight back on the low side with Brandon Zimmerman in tow. Ryan Gomes right behind Zimmerman, a couple trackside teammates down on that low side, trying to see if they can get themselves into contention here tonight as well. as we come across the line to start lap number 5. Side by side, door to door as they come off of turn number 2. And we can take a look off the back bumper of Joe Wright. And this is just how close it is. That is a bumper full of Tyler Aspinall as he gets right up onto the back bumper, gives a really good shove to that 82 machine. Doing everything he can to try to keep Joe Wright out in front, but Devin Butchno currently just moved out in front by just a little bit. And Joe Wright takes that spot right back. So back and forth between these two up at the front. As Devin Butchno is going to lead lap number 5. So 20 to go in the stage. And this is the kind of pack racing that we were expecting to see. Of course, there's always time to see the big one. We see a couple drivers kind of hanging back a little bit. Oh, as we got some movement up at the front. Oh, that's Brian Merle Jr. Tried to make it 3 wide for a second. He got shoved back down as Joe Wright took the low side right in front of his teammate. That allows Tyler Aspinall to make some moves up on the high side. He's got his teammate right in tow. And Brian Merle Jr. right there as well. Looked like Jr. almost hit the wall for a second, but he was able to regain control of that truck. Jonathan Goke says, I know that voice. Goke, good to see you. Glad you're able to stay safe. I know the weather was kind of crazy down in Alabama today, but glad that nothing came your way. And to all those who are affected by the weather here on the East Coast, I hope everybody is doing well and okay and safe with their friends and family. As Joe Wright now retakes the lead away from Tyler Aspinall. Aspinall with a big shove from his teammate. Joe Wright with a big shove from Devin Butchno, his teammate. Team Neon on the low side. And then Tyler Aspinall and Nick Fuller up on the high side. And it looks like we already have pit stops being made. Neon Racing down onto pit road with a couple others in tow as well. Looks like Brett Merle in tow and Michael Provault making their way down pit road as well. So our first takers down onto pit road. That's going to kind of separate things here up at the front as well. It's going to spread out our front drivers here. Though Brian Merle Jr. trying to run side by side. The best thing these boys could do is get single file to try to keep up the speed so that when the other drivers get out of pit road, because you know they're going to be single file coming off of pit road, and single file is going to run a lot faster than trucks 2 wide. So watch for that as they come down through the short chute towards the tri-oval. And across the stripe to start lap number 9. Now Brian Merle Jr. trying to take the lead away from Tyler Aspinall up at the front. With a big push here from Sylvain Seguin. But Jr. not able to get the run off the corner that he was hoping to do. Now they're going to lose a little side draft down the backstretch. That is Neon's MO. That is something that we learned a long time ago. That's Joseph Wright bringing that intel to Team Neon. Something we used to do back in the F&D days. The drivers that could pit the earliest, as Brian Merle Jr. is going to take over the lead here from Tyler Aspinall, and he's going to stay up on the high side with Sylvan in tow. And the two of them are going to take over the lead from Tyler Aspinall and Nick Fuller. I think they were listening to me because now they're starting to get a little more single file. Brian Merle Jr. led his lap. Now he's going to fall back as Sylvain Seguin is going to take over the lead here. And the announcement on iRacing today, I know made John Goke very happy. You know, he's watching still. The iRacing and IndyCar have reached an agreement for a license once again. So, you will be able to see Indy racing once again here on iRacing. And we'll be able to broadcast IndyCar races as well, including the always fun to watch Indy 500 here on iRacing. So glad to have that prestigious event back here on iRacing as the field starting to get a little bit more single file yet again. And we see Joe Wright leading this second group. And just how much these guys are formed up. So right now, last time by, Sylvain Seguin ran a 54.94 as Joseph Wright comes down across the stripe this time. See what kind of times he runs. So the leader just ran a 54.94. Joseph Wright just ran a 52.16. That is almost 3 seconds faster than that front group, and you can see exactly what that is doing when we look at the delta here. From Joseph Wright up to Brian Merle Jr., and you see how fast that lead is shrinking. That is real time, how fast the interval is coming down. And now Joe Wright's going to jump up to the top side, allow Eddie Morris to get out in front, and that's because Eddie was starting to get a little bit hot. Now, you see off the back bumper of Morris's truck here, that little grill on the bottom. See it on Devin Butchino's truck a little bit better because he has to hang a little bit further back. That's as much air as these drivers can get to the engine of these cars or these trucks. So being tucked right up on that back bumper like that, not a lot of air is able to get into the engine, and it's really easy to heat these trucks up and overheat these trucks. So that's why you're seeing these drivers having to switch ever so slightly. Daniel Wiles has gone up to the lead of the race. And now Mike Moultrie is going to take over the lead. And that's officially our eighth lead change of the race. Unofficially 16th, as these drivers have been bouncing back and forth all over at the front here. And again, that's why these drivers are losing ground to that second group, because they want to race. They want to be 2 wide, 3 wide, and not really staying in line as well as that second group. And now it's just a 22-second gap between Brian Merle Jr. and Eddie Morris. So they've gained in the last 2 laps almost 7 seconds on that front group. And that has nothing to do with tires or anything like that. That is just these drivers being in line and run faster, as they did not take tires, just fuel on that stop. So far, 9 drivers left to pit here, as 10th through 16th have already pit. So 6 drivers in a row being lined up like this are able to run, like I said, 2 to 2.5 seconds quicker than this group. And you see how much of a space there is between the 24 and the 17, and then back to the 45. And that is why they're not able to put together the same kind of lap times as that second group. Of course, running this tightly in a pack, there's less margin for error. When you're the bunch of drivers that you can trust and you can lean on and push all the way around the racetrack, that makes a big difference, and you're seeing exactly why right now, as that gap is now under 20 seconds, and as they come across the stripe, it's going to be down to 18 seconds. Again, you're seeing just how fast these drivers are able to catch each other. And that's due to being in line here, but also being such a big track. Will Witt in the chat says, come on, Eddie. As Will cheering on that 8 machine. Eddie, again, trying to lock himself into the championship race with a win here tonight at Talladega. And now up front, Daniel Wiles is going to lead a lap here. making lead change number 9. So the real question is, when is our front group going to come down and pit? We should see that. Actually, I believe they'll probably be coming down either this time or next time, if I had to guess. Looks like everybody stays out. No, a couple come down onto pit road this time. Nick Fuller, Tyler Aspinall, both the Gomes come down pit road. Brandon Zimmerman comes down pit road. That's going to leave just 3 trucks out onto the racetrack. And our second group has just leapfrogged the first group as everybody's... Oh, we see Gomes having some issues getting into his pit stall. Tyler Aspinall is down and away. Nick Fuller down and away. Brian Merle Jr. is down, but you see the gap here. Let's put up the track map so you can see where everybody is. As here comes Daniel Wiles. Going to pass right by pit road, so I think they can go another lap. And that shows right there as Eddie's coming down through the tri-oval, and you can see that just how much of an advantage those drivers have staying single file like that, and how big of a lead they have over Tyler Aspinall, who's just coming off of turn number 4. As they're coming in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And I can't imagine these drivers are going to be able to go any further here. They're going to be coming down pit road this time for sure. Up here they come down onto pit road. And as they enter pit road, you see that second group just coming off of turn number 4. And look at the gap that this second group is going to have. Because now they are starting to get a little bit racy here. Oh, Brett Merle loose in the back here. Loops it around. Michael Provolt spins out as well. Fortunately for them, plenty of time to get these trucks turned back around. Not really a wreckage replay, but let's take a look here, see what happened to Brett there. And I thought he was going to be able to save it, and surprised he parked it on pit road, not came around and at least tried to salvage a finish here as Eddie Morris leads lap number 19 as we start lap number 20. Just 5 laps to go left here in the stage. As Eddie Morris has Joseph Wright and Devin Butchno, his 2 teammates, locked in right behind him. And that can happen so easily. Just a small contact is all it takes to upset these trucks enough to get them spinning around, as they are so close to on the edge of out of control at the speeds they're running, currently 185 miles an hour as they come through the tri-oval towards turn number 1. So our top 5 all in a row here. You got to go 25 seconds back to the 95 of Michael Provo, who is just involved in that incident. He's getting caught quickly by Brandon Zimmerman, Brian Merle Jr., and Tyler Aspinall. Let me see Mike Moultrie, Daniel Wiles running together back here as Brett's coming off of pit road. Then Sylvan trying to get hooked up here with Nick Fuller, Ryan Gomes, and Riley Gomes coming across the line right now. It looks like Brett's only going to lose one lap. Fortunately for him, looks like he'll be able to get the lucky dog and get back onto the lead lap as Eddie Morris continues to lead this train up at the front. Joe almost taking a look down to the inside for a second there. As Eddie trying to see if he can steal a stage point or two here. And down across the stripe, and we have just 2 laps to go here in the stage. You see the second group led by Brandon Zimmerman, Brian Merle Jr., and Tyler Aspinall in line. They did not pick up Michael Provolt. Looks like Provolt's got a bit of damage to the right side of that truck. Yeah, you see that right rear pushed in pretty good. That is going to slow that truck down tremendously. Currently running about 172 miles an hour by himself. So he's about 15 miles an hour off the pace as Eddie Morris is coming down to the start-finish line. Coming to take the white flag for the stage. Joe Wright thought about taking a look up to the high side. He ends up staying tucked right in line as they go around the Gomes boys. This is not what Brett Merle wanted to see. He did not want to see anybody going a lap down in front of him. It's going to open up the inside, though. Is Joe Wright going to try to make a move? No, Dave Wright might as they make their way back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Off of turn number 4. Down through the tri-oval. Looks like Joe Wright's going to stay right there glued to that back bumper as they come across the stripe. I take it back. We're going to have one more lap. We'll be at the completion of lap 25. I thought it was on lap 25. My mistake. So we have one more lap. So is Joe Wright going to try to make a move here as they're coming up on some more lap traffic? And you see Joe Wright taking a look up to the high side, trying to pin down Eddie Morris, but Eddie able to stay out in front of that 82 machine for now as they come off of turn number 3 towards turn number 4. Off of turn 4, they're going to have a tow here from the 11 of Brett Merle. Down across the stripe, Eddie Morris looks like he is going to win the stage. No, Joe Wright is going to get the stage win right there at the line. So how about that? Joe Wright getting the stage win. Stealing away from Eddie Morris right as they came across the start-finish line there. That might be a little bit of teammates helping teammates, though, because we know Joe needs all the help he can get to get himself into Phoenix. So those bonus points for the stage win and that playoff point could be huge. So we'll wait for these guys to come around, and then we'll talk to our stage winner after pit stops. So you see the field making their way around at top speed trying to catch the pace truck. Looks like the pace truck is here on the backstretch. Of course, Nick Fuller, Sylvan Seguin's going to make their way all the way around the racetrack. There should be enough time for them to catch the back of the field before we get to the entrance of pit road, so they should be able to get down onto pit road and get all together. Although on a big track like this, it really isn't as big of a deal. It looks like Ryan Gomes in the 55 will be our lucky dog. Cheeseburger, so it's eventfully uneventful as far as cautions. Yeah, with the pit stops and the field getting spread out a little bit, I was kind of expecting that. However, now that everybody's coming down pit road here and going to be tightening up here, we're going to be able to re-rack them, restack them, and get ready to refire them. It's going to be a little bit of a different change of pace, I think. I think the intensity is going to ramp up a little bit here as the laps wind down, especially the drivers who are really needing a win to move on to the round of 8. Again, let's take a look at the playoff picture coming into tonight. And we see Ryan Gomes, Joseph Wright, Brandon Zimmerman, Eddie Morris. They're pretty much in must-win situations at this point, being as far back behind Nicholas Fuller, Daniel Wiles as they are, even Devin Butchno. Tyler Aspinall, we saw him sweep the first round of 12, so I don't see, he might be trying to push his luck here a little bit tonight, but he's always got another shot next week when we move on to Kansas. But right now, let's get a word in with our stage winner, Joseph Wright. Joe, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, Josh. What's up, buddy?
Man, what a stage win for you. Great call. I know that is the old, I said it earlier, the old F&D, let's pit as soon as we can tactic right there to try to get ourselves up front. But, man, winning the stage right there at the line. I don't know if Eddie kind of gave you that because he knew that you needed the help getting there with the stage points or not. But, man, what a run and what a strategy. Was that kind of the strategy right from the beginning to kind of pit early? Get you guys
get we discussed that in the pre-race. We can catch those guys off guard. We made up some massive time. I think they were about 25 behind there at the end of that run. So great strategy. We've been doing that for 100 years, you and I. And I told the guys that as we were coming to the line there. I said that's the old school way to do these things here at the super speedways. So.
Yeah, kind of race them backwards in a sense. But now you got the long stage. You got another pit stop coming up. How confident do you guys feel after nailing that first pit stop that the same thing's going to happen here again?
I think we're good on our pit strategy. You can see we're down pit road now to top off, but I think we're good. I think we're going to have something for him here at the end.
Well, good luck. Sorry to interrupt your second pit stop here, but good luck the way out. The rest of the race here, and hopefully we'll talk to you again at the end.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one. So Brandon Zimmerman's going to take over the race lead. Brian Merle Jr. is going to be to his outside. Michael Moultrie and Sylvan Squin going to be back in row number 2. And then we'll find Joseph Wright and Eddie Morris back in row 3. Devin Butchno, David Hartney back in row 4. And Tyler Aspinall and David Wright also coming down pit road right there. Going to be back in row number 5. Nick Fuller, Daniel Wiles back in row 6. And then your lap trucks will be behind as we see the 55 of Ryan Gomes getting back onto the lead lap here. He's going to be restarting from the 13th position. And then a few drivers behind him who are a lap down. Michael Provolt is still on the lead lap. Then you have Riley Gomes, who is 1 lap down, and Brett Merle, who is 2 laps down. However, it's super speedway racing and anything can happen here, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Of course, you never want to get caught up in the big one. When these drivers are running as tightly as they are, one driver makes a mistake, especially up towards the front, it can take out the entire field, really. So watch for that here, as some drivers might tend to hang out a little bit more towards the back of the field in the early part of this run to try to keep themselves out of trouble. So we'll have 29 laps to go when we take the green flag. Brandon Zimmerman, we got Trackside in first, Neon Racing second, Merca Racing in third, Sylvain, kind of free agent, in fourth, and then Neon lined up behind on that inside row as Brandon Zimmerman leads them down towards the Geico restart zone. And the green flag is back in the air. We are back racing, and a great jump for Brandon Zimmerman. Almost too good of a jump, though, as he is going to have drivers lined up behind him, and Brian Merle Jr. needs to tuck down below him to try to block that bottom lane from coming. And that allows Sylvan up on that high side, allowed that top lane to not get a run. As now that bottom lane is all single file, and Brandon Zimmerman's going to pull off on the backstretch. That's going to give the lead to Brian Merle Jr. as they come down the backstretch. And into turn number 3. Junior, another driver looking for his first win here tonight in the SCSRA. He's making his way down the short chute towards the tri-oval. He's going to lead lap number 30. As Sylvan goes up to the high side. Sylvan leads the lap. Now Taylor Aspinall jumping up to the high side as well. We are 3 wide racing with the 9 of Riley Gomes, who is a lap down, trying to get his lap back the hard way. Tyler Aspinall with a mirror full of Brian Merle Jr. as Riley Gomes officially gets himself back onto the lead lap by a nose, but here comes Aspinall back on the low side. A little bit of side drafting there, and side drafting, if you're unfamiliar, so you can get right on the door of the truck next to you. These trucks put a big wake of air, kind of think of it like a wake of water around the trucks, and they got those big spoilers on the back, and if you can dump the air from your truck onto that spoiler, it can slow down the truck to your inside or outside. And it makes it look like you've got a little bit of a turbocharger in your truck. Another little blink there for the 24 of Moultrie. As here comes Ryan Gomes up on the high side. He's got a bit of a run here. He's trying to get up there with his brother and make something happen. With Nick Fuller right in the middle. 3 wide racing a little further back. Sylvain Seguin right there at the meat of the sandwich in between Michael Provolt and Daniel Wiles. Now they go back to 2x2 racing. And you see Team Neon just kind of hanging back a little bit. We talked about that just a moment ago, that some drivers might try to hang back a little bit to keep themselves out of trouble. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now as Neon is trying to stay back and hang out a little bit, as Nick Fuller is going to take the lead away from his teammate Tyler Aspinall, and now Riley Gomes in trouble up there on the high side. Brett Merle jumps down to the bottom. He is 2 laps down, trying to do the same thing, try to get a lap back the hard way. So unofficially, 25 lead changes in this race. Officially, we are up to lead change number 15. As Tyler Aspinall settles in right behind his teammate and continues to give a shove to the 14 of Nick Fuller. Brian Merle Jr., our biggest mover of the race, currently sits back in the 3rd spot, up 11 spots from where he started. Your next biggest mover is Sylvain, back in 6th, up 10 spots from where he started. And now Riley Gomes starting to fall back a little bit towards the back of the pack. He was trying to get his lead back, his lap back the hard way. Fortunately, doesn't look like that is going to happen, as Nick Fuller Gets a big shove from Brian Merle Jr. down into turn at number 3. So your top 3 right now, nose to tail. Starting to pull away from the 17 of Daniel Wiles a little bit. Wiles doesn't have that 55 right there on the back bumper like he should to try to get back up towards this field. And then we see Brett Merle, who again is a couple laps down right now. Well, 1 lap down, trying to get back onto the lead lap. Brett did not pit on that last cycle of pit stops, trying to catch a caution and hopefully get himself back onto the lead lap, taking the wave around. Unfortunately, he pit on lap 19. So he'll only be able to go to about lap 45, I would imagine, before he's going to be out of fuel. You saw the fuel run be about 18 to 19 laps max, depending on where you are in the field. If you're out front leading, you're not going to be able to make quite as many laps as if you are towards the back. And that's another thing that Eddie Morris and Team Neon, Joe Wright, Devin Butchino are all doing. Being back here in the back of the field, they're able to run about half to 3/4 throttle, not having to run wide open. That's going to save them a ton of fuel as well. So they're doing the strategy game right now, trying to stay out in front metaphorically right now with the fuel savings. Right now, though, this is the part of the race where everybody kind of just settles in, gets single file, and runs out the fuel. In NASCAR or real life, normally you see these drivers run up against the wall on the high side. But here at iRacing, everybody likes to tuck down on that low side because you never know when somebody might try to dive down and make a move. So I'm going to guess here with the Neon Boys are probably going to make their way down pit road somewhere around lap 45. And that is going to be where that fuel run is going to be. Again, that's as far as Brett Merle's probably going to be able to go. So we'll see if he also pits with the Neon Boys or if he tries to pit a little bit sooner, a little bit later. We'll see what goes on here. But I do imagine the Neon Boys will be pitting around lap 45 if I had to guess. See Riley Gomes up on the high side trying to get around Brett Merle to retake that lucky dog spot if the caution was to come out, where he'd be able to get himself back onto the lead lap. I know he's got that green banner up on his truck, but he is not part of the playoffs. You see the 8 drivers highlighted on the ticker where they're running. Those are your playoff drivers. That's Nick Fuller, Tyler Aspinall, Daniel Wiles, Ryan Gomes, Joseph Wright, Eddie Morris, Devin Butchino, and Brandon Zimmerman. Those are your 8 drivers. Michael Lawrence says the calm before the storm. Absolutely, that's exactly what you're seeing right now, is these drivers just kind of calmly running, logging some laps, but the excitement's going to pick up as soon as pit stops are made. Also, you'll probably see where drivers all come down pit road at the same time. We've seen before where the entire field pits at the same time on these super speedways, which is always exciting to see. But I imagine if one team decides to come down pit road, within the next lap or two, you'll see everybody making their way down pit road just because they saw what happened in that first run. But still, everybody just kind of calmly running nose to tail. Tomorrow night, we'll see the SCSRA Next Gen Series also take on Talladega for their first race of the round of 8. That'll be over on Noma TV, so you want to check that one out. And then, of course, Thursday, we've got our Thunderstruck series. Sunday night, we've got our INSS series. We also have another series that is going to be running strictly on Twitch on Sunday nights. So you can check out 2 races on Sunday here on Intensity Broadcasting. Of course, INSS will still be on Facebook, YouTube, and Kick. We're starting to see another driver kind of pull out of line back here. That is the 24, Michael Moultrie, who's trying to slowly make his way back through the field, doing a little what we call island jumping, where he's able to use a little side draft, pull the car in front of him backwards, tuck back in line, get a run, make a move, and he's slowly working his way back up through the field. What he could really use is a little bit of help. He's coming up on his teammate, Daniel Wiles. See if anybody jumps up in front of Moultrie. Yeah, here comes the 9 of Riley Gomes. And now Ryan Gomes down to the bottom, and he's going to allow everybody to go right on by. I think there's a problem for Gomes. Sounds like the truck is back up to speed. Don't know if he just saw something he didn't like and wanted to get out of the way, or if he had some kind of technical issue on his side, but he's fallen all the way back into the 14th position. And Michael Cheeseburger Laura says, I don't think the leaders are full throttle up at the front. And I'm going to tend to agree with you, because last time by, they ran a 54.11. And we saw drivers in the draft running 51.4s, 51.3s. So, yeah, it looks like our leaders are definitely trying to save as much fuel up front as they can. Especially the way that Riley Gomes has just been able to get back out in front and up into third on the racetrack. Yeah, last time by, you saw Moultrie run a second faster than your leader. So definitely doing a little fuel saving out there, as well, as we are coming to 25 laps to go. So Vincent Quinn just jump out of line. He's going to start falling backwards as well. Don't know if he's trying to do a little bit of fuel saving himself. He's going to try to tuck in line here between the 17 of Daniel Wiles and Joseph Wright. At least I thought he was. Now he's going to fire back up on that high side. Which, running up on that high side, you're going to burn more fuel. You don't have any drafting help up there. And it's a longer way around the racetrack. So if you were in any kind of fuel saving mode, being up on that high lane is not the way to do it. But it looks like he is going to try to make his way up towards the lead. Well, my guess for pitting was lap 45. We are working lap number 43, so I imagine we should start seeing pit stops within the next 5 or so laps. Question is, who's going to be the first to come, and is it going to be Team Neon? Which would not surprise me in the least. As they pass by pit road this time. So next week we move on to Kansas Speedway for our final race of the round of 8. And we'll round out the season at Phoenix Raceway. So here comes Riley Gomes up on the high side as he is trying to get himself again back up onto the lead lap. Of course, Brett Merle, as I mentioned, last pit on lap 19, as here comes Brian Merle Jr., Brett Merle down on the pit road. So these two drivers trying to run a bit of the undercut. They've got some help as well, as Michael Provolt is with them as well. So 3 trucks are definitely going to be fast enough to keep up with the pack, as opposed to just one truck by himself. This is exactly what Riley Gomes wanted to see right now, as he is now locked into that lucky dog spot. And our these drivers are down and away. Let's see where they are up on the track map, as they are just making their way down into turn number 1. Of course, they do have to stay down on the apron all the way around through turns 1 and 2 to blend onto the backstretch. Now the big question is, when is everybody else going to make their way down on the pit road? A couple other drivers in trouble right now. Brandon Zimmerman, Ryan Gomes have lost the pack. They have lost the draft, and they are falling further and further behind the field. As here comes a bunch of drivers down on the pit road. See Nick Fuller, Tyler Aspinall, Riley Gomes, Mike Moultrie. The 17 of Daniel Wiles all on pit road. So now this time, the other drivers who saw the undercut the first time are trying to pull the same thing. That makes me think that Joseph Wright, Eddie Morris, Devin Butchino, I imagine that they should be coming down pit road probably this lap or the next. We're going to run a lap or two, try to get some separation here before they make their way down pit road. You see Eddie Morris right there on the back bumper of Joseph Wright, giving the big shove through turns 3 and 4. Devin Butchino was right there on the back bumper. Eddie Morris not making contact, but just staying right there to try to give the push. And yeah, these drivers are going to pass pit road one more time, try to get themselves a bit of a lead off of the rest of the field. You see the 17 just entering turn number, or coming off of turn number 2 and onto the backstretch. Question is, how formed up are these? These guys are formed up. I mean, this is exactly what they wanted to do. Is Brian Merle Jr. has a head of steam, and that is exactly what Brian Merle Jr. was hoping to do as they dispatch our front group. And it's exactly what Team M&M just kind of saw what Neon did on that first run, and they are mimicking it right now as here comes Neon Racing down on the pit road. Ooh, issues for Devin Butchino. Almost missed pit road there, but everybody else getting down on the pit road cleanly now. Where is Brian Merle Jr.? He is just on the middle of the backstretch now. Everybody makes a slide down. Ooh, Devin Butchino misses pit stop. David Hartney does as well. That could be trouble for those drivers, as Joseph Wright's going to be down and away momentarily. There he is. Eddie Morris is rolling. Sylvan is rolling as well. Now Devin, not quite as clean as a pit stop as Brian Merle Jr. and Team M&M. And you see right now, the battle is heating back up as David Wright has now taken over the lead of the race. Well, you see David Hartney about to get swallowed up by this pack as they go 3 wide around Hartney. Brian Merle Jr., Brett Merle down on the low side. Brett trying to help his brother win his first SCSRA race. As they catch the slow truck of Sylvain Seguin, they go back to 3 wide. There's Eddie Morris and Devin Butchino right there on the bottom, trying to hold off the hard-charging Daniel Wiles. And Joseph Wright and David Wright are going to lose a position here. But Eddie Morris, Team Neon back together on that low side. And that might be the right move right now, as here comes the block, big block in front of Tyler Aspinall, slides right down in front of David Wright. Doesn't give him any room there, as now Daniel Wiles trying to run 2 lanes here. They're trying to hold off Nick Fuller and Brian Merle Jr. We're both trying to, they're trying to block both lanes there, as Jr.'s got a great run up on the high side with a big push from his brother as they come down the short chute towards the tri-oval. We're coming to 16 laps to go. As they come across the stripe here, Wiles is going to barely hold off Brian Merle Jr., but here comes Jr. back into turn number 1, side by side with the big shove from his brother and teammate. And Michael Provolt trying to hang in there and push along as well. Side by side, door to door, 3 rows deep as they come through turns 3 and 4. Brian Merle Jr. back up on that high side, trying to make something happen with his help from his brother. We're coming to 15 laps to go. Brian Merle Jr. is out of the championship race, but trying to get a win here, trying to steal a spot, trying to ensure that nobody advances automatically to Phoenix as he runs his brother up the track. And now Michael Provolt's going to tuck back in line. Here comes Joe Wright up in the middle here, trying to push the issue here on that middle lane. You know, Wiles runs a little bit off the yellow line there, trying to run a little bit of a serpentine, trying to break the draft of the trucks behind. Got the 2 America drivers, then the 2 Aspinall Racing drivers down on the bottom. And you've got 2 M&M drivers with Brian Merle Jr. and Michael Provolt, as now Moultrie jumps up into the high lane. And he wants a piece of the action here, as he's going to come across the stripe here and lead a lap with just 15, make that 14 laps to go. We mentioned it earlier, the excitement was going to pick up, and here it is. This is exactly what we were expecting to see here, as they were trying to make it 3 wide down the backstretch with Joseph Wright with his brother David in tow down the backstretch. Neon lined up in that 3rd lane. We got 3 wide, 4 rows deep through turns 3 and 4 of the high banks here at Talladega Superspeedway. Daniel Wiles back up in front. Mike Moultrie trying to pull that middle lane across. Here comes Joe Wright with David Wright up on the high side. Team Neon trying to run that high lane here as they come down across the stripe. Daniel Wiles is going to lead that lap by just a few inches, as that middle lane now becomes the sucker hole, and the 2 outside and inside lanes become the faster lanes. And Joseph Wright is going to jump out to the lead here as they come down the backstretch towards turn number 3. Joe's going to dive all the way down to the bottom. That's going to force the issue there, as Wiles had to get out of it there. Moultrie giving a big shove to David Wright now, as that bottom middle lane now starting to fall back a little bit, as everybody had to check up and get out of the gas. And just like that, we are back to 2 wide racing as Joseph Wright retakes the lead. But here comes David Wright trying to get something going with Mike Moultrie giving a big shove there on the back bumper as they come across the stripe. Just 12 laps to go here at Talladega. couple drivers have fallen off quite a bit here. See Dave Hartney, Tyler Aspinall, Sylvain Seguin, and Michael Provolt. They must have had a little bit of an incident there. They've fallen off and lost the draft. Their best bet would be get lined up and see if they can make a run at it here, instead of kind of hanging apart from each other. But Joseph Wright in control of this race right now as Moultrie takes him 3 wide and looks up to the high side of David Wright. Eddie Morris is going to get right there to the back bumper. Now the 17 of Daniel Wiles is going to jump up to that middle lane, and he's going to look for a push here from David Wright as Mike Moultrie gets shuffled to the back of the train. Dave Wright giving a big shove to that 17 machine down the backstretch. Mike Moultrie again jumps out of line. Trying to make something happen up on that high lane, but he's got no help as David Hartney is catching the back of this field as they've been running 3 wide. And look at the run that 43 truck has as they come off of turn number 4 and down towards the stripe. And Daniel Wiles is going to lead this lap here and take the lead away from Joseph Wright. Just 10 laps to go to see who's going to move on to our championship race, or is a dark horse going to come in and take a race away, and nobody automatically advances to the next round as Joseph Wright now jumps up to the high side yet again up in front of his brother. They come down the backstretch, and Joe is going to take the lead back away as they race towards turn number 3. Dives down to the bottom, gives that top spot to his brother. Now Dave Wright's got the head of steam with a big shove from Eddie Morris up on the high side. Devin Butchno right back there in tow as well. Off of turn number 4, Dave Wright trying to take the lead away. Of course, Dave Wright looking for his first official win here in the SCSRA. And across the right, and Joe Wright's going to barely have the lead as we have just 9 laps to go. Tyler Aspinall, Mike Moultrie back together. David Hartney. We got drivers who I were just calling out of it a few moments ago. Now they are right back into the mix. And they did exactly what I said they needed to do, just get lined up to get themselves in a position here. That's exactly what we're seeing right now. Who's going to make the big move and when is it going to happen as Joe Wright continues to hold on to the lead. But here comes David Wright again with a big shove from Eddie Morris down through the tri-oval and towards the start-finish line to come to 8 laps to go. David Wright gets the lead away just barely as they come across the stripe. He's trying to use a little bit of side draft to pull his brother back and try to get himself out in front with the lead. Ooh, big bobble out of the 82 there. That's going to give some energy to that high lane as they come down the backstretch. 2 by 2 by 2, 5 lanes deep. Daniel Wiles not leaving the back bumper of that 82 machine. As they come down the short chute again towards the start-finish line, or through the tri-oval, excuse me. Start-finish line's well past the tri-oval here at Talladega. That could come into play. We mentioned that at the beginning of the broadcast. Having that start-finish line right there has led to some exciting finishes here at Talladega. I'm sure we're about to see just the same thing as we have just 7 laps to go here in the first race of the round of 8. Daniel Wiles sits back there in the second spot on the low side without a teammate. He's got Nick Fuller giving him a big shove. I know Nick Fuller runs with them in the, one truck down into the inside wall. That's Brian Merle Jr. Heavy contact with the inside wall. As now David Hartney up through the middle here. He's going to try to squeeze in front of Mike Moultrie as David Wright takes over the lead from his brother Joseph Wright. And we're going to have just 7 Come to 6 laps to go. Eddie Morris now up on the high side, getting a great shove from Devin Butchino and his teammate David Hartney as well. Then a little further back, you see Tyler Aspinall giving a big shove to Mike Moultrie. You got Nick Fuller getting a push from behind by Brett Merle, who is out of this race due to being a couple laps down. Oh, Mike Moultrie gets turned. Big wreck on the backstretch. We stay green. We stay green. Devin Butchino caught up in that one as well. Spun down to the inside, but no caution. We stay green, and David Wright stays out in front. Now Nick Fuller trying to stay sniffed up on that draft. Falling behind, but trying to get back up towards these front 4. Trying to make something happen. We see Brian Merle Jr. wrecked down on the inside of the racetrack. See if we can see exactly what happened here. We see just a little bit of a squeeze here between Mike Moultrie, Devin Butchino, teammate David Hartney comes down, catches the 17. Moultrie goes down to the inside. I don't know how this wasn't a caution with the 17 going across the track in front of traffic, catches Tyler Aspinall. Nick Fuller gets a little piece of it as well. But the battle will be these 3 trucks up at the front: David Wright, Joseph Wright, and Eddie Morris. David Wright trying to get his first win in the SCSRA. Joseph Wright trying to lock himself into the round of 4, the championship round. Eddie Morris trying to get a win here at his favorite track here at Talladega. See Devin Butchino down on the inside of the track, trying to salvage any kind of finish that he can. As we are approaching 3 laps to go. Not just is that going to shake up the standings of the race, that's going to shake up the point standings quite a bit as well. As these 3 neon drivers continue to run 1, 2, 3. And are they going to try to make it exciting at the end, or are they just going to let this one play out? Down off of turn number 4, down towards the tri-oval. Joseph Wright giving a big shove to Dave Wright down through the tri-oval. We have just 2 laps to go. See, Brian Merle Jr. got his truck fixed coming back off of pit road. Fortunately, he's going to be all for naught here, as he is currently running back in the 16th position, dead last. Another driver who is looking for his first SCSRA win here tonight. Fortunately gets caught up in the wreck and finds himself out of contention, as our top 3 continue to run right here. David Wright, Joseph Wright, and Eddie Morris, as they are making their way to the tri-oval and coming to the white flag. We'll see just 1 more lap to go. The real question is, do they stay in line and let Dave get his first win? Do they let Joe get out in front to lock himself into the round of 4? Or does Eddie Morris try to make something happen here from the back? I'm sure team orders are off the table right now as they come down the backstretch for the final time towards turn number 3. Eddie Morris looks like he's trying to get a run here. Joe Wright kind of falling back a little bit, trying to get a run here as well as they come off of turn Number 4, who is it going to be? Joe's going to look up to the high side. Eddie's going to go even higher here as they come through turns 3 and 4. Down across the stripe. Almost some contact here, and Eddie Morris is going to get the win. Leading the final lap here tonight to get the win. David Wright comes home in second. Joseph Wright brings it home in third, and it's a team neon sweep. 1, 2, 3 is Eddie Morris right at the checker flag, right through the tri-oval, gets the win off of that little short shoot down to the start-finish line. We knew the intensity was going to ramp up there. Unfortunately, we saw the caution, the big one happen, and the yellow flag did not wave. So, but Eddie Morris, we know one thing. He is going to be racing for a championship in 2 weeks at Phoenix, getting the win here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. He's going to park that truck right here at the start-finish line. David Wright, Joseph Wright also going to come down, park their trucks here for the ceremonial picture here for the top 3. And now Eddie Morris is going to celebrate his race win. And Neon's going to celebrate their 1, 2, 3 finish. It's a great way to celebrate there with teammates, burning it down together right here on the front stretch in a cloud of smoke. And we'll take a look at the results. Again, Eddie Morris getting the victory here tonight. David Wright brings it home second. Joe Wright back in third. Nick Fuller and Tyler Aspinall round out your top 5. David Hartney comes home 6th. Mike Moultrie back in 7th. Brandon Zimmerman, Ryan Gomes, and Daniel Wiles round out your top 10. Michael Brovolt brings it home 11th. Brett Merle back in 12th. Devin Buccino, Riley Gomes, Brian Merle Jr., and Sylvain Seguin round out the field here at Talladega. As you see Eddie Morris in the background, still continuing to burn out and celebrate his race win here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Let's see if we can talk with our top 3. Let's just get our camera set up for such. As we like to do. Starting with your third place finisher, Joseph Wright. Once I can find where he is at. Joe, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me? Man, what a run for you guys here tonight. Team Neon sweeping 1, 2, 3. Got the stage win. Comes home third. The great points day for you. Kind of getting yourself set up to make a run at the championship here. Talk us through that last couple laps there, because it looked like the 3 of you were lined up. I didn't know if you were just going to let Dave get his first win, or if you 3 of you were going to race it out there at the end. But it turned out to be a wild one. Oh, hang on 1 second. I apologize. I forgot to unmute Joe there. So go ahead and repeat yourself there.
I said nobody on this team gets freebies, so D Wright can pop shove it there at the end. It's all heads off on the last lap, as you saw Eddie jump to the outside as well. I could have blocked probably Eddie. I could have made a different move, but we wanted to come home in one piece, 0x, get those max point day going, and just race that thing out to the line. So. Awesome job to all the Neon Racing guys. Just awesome race all the way around, from start to finish.
Yeah, I know a lot of drivers were kind of playing it safe there at the end. We were thinking we might see a big one there. It happened, but the caution didn't come out. Were you kind of surprised to see how clean this one went, pretty much start to finish green, with really lack of incidents?
Yeah, I mean, the lack of cars on track when the incident happened there at the end was probably the reason there was no caution. When we came back around, everything was cleared out. So unfortunate for some people, especially Devin, who was also running for the points championship here with Neon. But overall, a great day for all of us, and awesome race. And I love super speedways. I'd rather race this than anything else every day of the week. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, a great job coming home third here tonight, getting the stage win, maximizing your points here tonight. And before we let you go, Joe, anyone you want to thank? Any shots you got to give here tonight?
yeah, shout out to Intensity Broadcasting for coming on and doing this every week. Josh, you're awesome in the booth. We watch them back week by week. Shout out to Blue Ridge Auto Group for sponsoring the truck series this season. Thanks to Devin, Eddie, uh, Dave, Hartney, Sylvan for doing the points. All the guys who do the behind the scenes work and the post race BS stuff that they have to deal with. Um, awesome job this season. If I don't run for a championship, it's still a fun season, So
For sure, man. Well, again, a great job here tonight. Good luck next week at Kansas. Hopefully, you'll be one of those top four drivers there running for a championship.
thank you, bro.
Have a great night. So that's your third place finisher, Joe Wright. Let's bring in your second place finisher as we bring in Dave Wright. Dave, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Joshy. How you doing, bud?
Man, doing well. Great job coming home second here tonight. I know, like Joe said, there's no freebies here on that last lap, but man, I thought you were going to get your first win here in the SCSRA. But Michigan wins on Monday. You come home second here tonight. It's got to be a pretty good night, pretty good week for you so far.
Yeah, not a bad week going so far. Go Blue. Big win last night.
I was gonna say, talk us through your strategy here tonight. I know you guys ran a couple different strategies, trying to get that early pit stop, which worked out for you guys for the stage. But that second pit stop looked like you had a couple drivers have some issues there on pit road. Talk us through why what you guys were able to do to get back together and try to have a chance there at the end.
Yeah, for the stage, we were just when the pit window opened, we tried to beat everybody in. That worked out. We got ahead and got a good lead on and cleared the stage pretty well. And then for the second part, we were trying to play a little bit of games and mess around a little bit, and faked a couple guys out going into pits, and then just had it timed up where we would take the right amount of fuel, and get off, choreographed with hopefully just the five of us. I actually got off like 5 seconds out from all of them, so I must have had a little bit more in the tank. And then we didn't beat the field off. They got the lap ahead of us. Crew had enough folks and ran good and got around, and the race was on. And then it was on, Josh, for a good 10 laps there. It was high speed chest at 180 miles an hour, and it was real good, clean racing. I don't know what happened. Everything was in my mirror. I just seen 68 sideways in my mirror, and the whole field was cleared out. So I have no idea what happened behind me, but it was fun up there at the front with myself and Joe and Wiles and Nick and Eddie pushing too. So, and Butch was there too. So good times, man.
I know you're trying to play spoiler, trying to play dark horse here tonight, but still a great run for you here tonight. Before you let you know, Dave, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, man, I knew I was set when I'm a sitting duck up there sitting in the front, especially with those two. They know what to do, backing off and getting runs, and I wasn't going to block them and do that with me not in the playoffs, right? So I just want to thank Morse Customs, obviously, for that sick-ass paint job. It's pretty ironic. We go with the 15-0 champs at the beginning of the year, and they sealed the deal last night. Here we are in the playoffs, still rocking it, and we're getting it up in a podium. And then Dev Sports Cards, too. And then, obviously, you, Josh, you're awesome. I'm sure it was boring the first half of the race where people are saving fuel right in single file, but we gave you at least good 10 laps of action.
Now, there's some great action through the field coming down to the end. So, again, congratulations on the podium here tonight, Dave. Good luck tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Cool, man. I'll see you out there tomorrow.
Have a great night. That was your second place finisher, Dave Wright. And let's bring in the one and only, we know him as the Fried Piper. That is the driver of the 8 Morris Customs machine, Eddie Morris. Eddie, you got Josh up in the booth. You got me?
Hey, brother. How's it going?
Man, not as good as you, man. I mean, kind of patiently waiting all race long, kind of hanging out in the back, not really making your voice known, and then come across the stripe ahead of everybody else. Talk us through that last run there, because I know it was a bit of a chess match just running a single file for a little bit, but that was a wild move you made there at the end.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I hate it for everybody that got caught up in that wreck. First off, if you win these things, that's not how you want to win them. I mean, it is cool to win them, but you don't want to win them that way. So I hate it for those guys. No telling what would have happened. We'd have probably had a big one, and a little bit later in the race, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, man. Once I knew it was just us three, was just checking that relative till the white flag, and once I knew, we had, I think it was like 8 or 9 seconds from third to fourth. Once I knew that they didn't have a chance to catch us, it was between us three. As long as we didn't wreck each other, and we had it wrapped up there, and got enough confidence in D and Joe Wright both to race clean to the end like that, and that's what we did, man. Put Neon 1, 2, 3.
Not just that, but locking yourself into the championship. As someone we know very well would say, we're going for the chip.
That's right, losers.
Oh
yeah.
How much was that on your mind there, coming through the trial, trying to get to the start finish line ahead of these guys, to try to lock yourself in and not have to worry about Kansas next week?
I really didn't even think about it until now. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. I was feeling pretty good about these last 3 races. The last 2 in the playoffs, and then the championship race at Phoenix. Feeling pretty good about them. These last 3 races. Looking forward to them. Yeah, like I said, I didn't even think about that until you just said something. So yeah, it's great. It's definitely a relief not having to worry about going into a cutoff race and worrying about making it or not making it, or who you got to finish in front of to advance. So yeah, that's pretty big stuff, man.
Well, of course, Eddie, before we let you go, we got to know who you want to thank, who you want to shout out, and if you want to play that sound bite, go right ahead.
That's right. Well, I got to find it, and I don't know about that. Nah, just shout out to Intensity Broadcasting. We appreciate you guys coming out and broadcasting all this and doing it for us. Morris Customs, rocking out the paints every week. Pretty sick. If you need a paint, go over to Facebook, type in Morris Customs, and it'll bring up my little page there, and you can interact or whatever. Dev Sports Cards, title sponsor for the next gen for tomorrow night's race. Of course, we got the Blue Ridge Auto Group, title sponsor for the trucks. Shout out to those guys. Yeah, man, my teammates couldn't do it. You cannot win these super speedway races without the help of your teammates and stuff. So I appreciate them. Joe, D. Wright, Pacino, Haiti got caught up in that. Yeah, just thanks to everybody that allows me to do this.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congrats on the win. Congrats locking yourself into the next round, and good luck next week in Kansas. I'm sure you'll make something out of nothing there as well, and maybe you can pull a Tyler Aspinall and sweep the round.
Maybe, man. That's we'll definitely shoot for it and see what we can do, and we'll keep our other teammates in mind also, and hopefully I'll be able to race with some of them for the chip.
Well, good luck again, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, brother.
Have a good night.
You too.
So here's your winner, Eddie Morris, getting the win here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. That's going to do it for us here tonight, as Eddie's still parked here on the start-finish line. That's going to do it for us here tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. Of course, don't forget to check out our great partners down below in the link, including down below in the description, including Blue Ridge Auto Group, iRacing, for all your iRacing subs and coaching needs. IntensityBroadcasting.com. Check out our page. Help support us. And, of course, we can't do it without our league sponsor here, Blue Ridge Auto Group. Check out all that down in the description of below. Of course, the Butt Kicker as well, another one of our great partners here for all your gaming haptic needs. Check out thebuttkicker.com. That's going to do it for us until next week at Kansas, where we go back playoff driver racing to see who can lock themselves into the Final Four. Just 3 spots remain. That's going to do it for us here tonight. Don't forget to hit that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting. And as our boy Atlee Hatman Weiss would say, over and out.